What's going on? How y'all doing? So the history of comedy tonight, talking about the TV sitcom, is going to deal with race, and they didn't deal with it really until the '70s. Really, when you think about it, they really didn't really develop the black character. They kept it in a buffoonish, coonish way back in the day, but they didn't really set it on fire until you really got to Good Times. So you got to the Jeffersons, you know, till you spinning off from All in the Family, you know. And it was very interesting when you would see the dynamics of how it would be, what would happen. I think the '70s did one as far as dealing with it. All in the Family was like the mother of it, but then you had Good Times, Jeffersons, they all dealt with it, and there were hits and spins here and there, but there weren't really a lot of going into it directly. But I think '70s did the bulk of the Jeffersons were like one of the first interracial couples. Tom and Helen Willis, and you dealt with that obviously with George Jefferson and everything with Wheezy and Florence and Lionel, etc., and Jenny, and then of course with Al and the son. So that was very pivotal. Good Times, Evans Family in the Hood, and projects dealing with the everything going on with that. So you dealt with those situations. You had Sanford and Son, of course. Fred Sanford's character, Sanford Son, was very groundbreaking with it. Puerto Rican Neighbors, Asian Azu, different. The black cop, white cop routine, very spot on. And I think the '70s did more for it. You know, Chico and the Man, Puerto Rican, Freddie Prince, the late Freddie Prince, Jack Alverson, what have you, and there was interesting dynamics, racially speaking, and it hasn't come close to touching that. TV does give a gauge into a lot of the things that go on in society to points, and sometimes it gets romanticized, but then sometimes it gets set aside to an agenda to appeal. So it should be really interesting how it does that with what they explore, the racial dynamics. All in the Family for me, always the scene when Sammy Davis Jr. kissed Archie Bunker's character and they took that picture was like a wowie, because you can imagine that. And that shows you what gets pushed as an agenda. But also it's important that you understand the context of everything. And comedy and race always go hand in hand. One of the greatest teachers that I ever heard of talk about it was Richard Pryor. And he actually did episodes. He did episodes for Sanford and Son. He did Saturday Night Live. Him and the late great Paul Mooney. You know, and that's a subject that is definitely missing today. So the history of comedy dealing with race on TV will be an interesting episode to watch. Please give me your thoughts and your takes. Please like, subscribe. I welcome thoughts and comments. I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. You can laugh about it. You can think about it. Race plays a part in everything. And this will be an interesting episode how they do it. I'm out. Peace.